shaking, y'all. Golden Mike, episode 138. Hit me with a hi-hat. It's so much fun. So much fun. It's your boy Marc Cordon, episode 138 on this good day in April. My guest today is going to talk about what we've been talking about the whole week, this idea of your best self. Now that we have an idea of your best self, how do we unleash that? How do we unleash you into the world? Our guest today, I've been waiting for him to come on this show. I'm stoked. Founder of, what's the name of the coaching?
Move forward and up.
Millennials Moving Forward and Up, dude. I knew it. Millennials Moving Forward and Up. A man of God, a man of the people, a man of his family, a man of the Philippines. My cousin, my peen son, my Knox. We might be cousins. We're not sure, everybody. But more importantly, he's my friend, and I've loved being able to work with him, and he worked with me on our different projects that have been going on. Please meet Kulas, the great Angelus. Kulas, how are you doing today, my friend? Are you only going to communicate to me? Are you only going to communicate to me with your drums?
No. That's the last one. Okay, I promise. Except if I'm making a point, right? So I'm doing great. I'm at home. I have my local, studio set up. I have my drums beside me. So if you hear some drum sounds, that's me playing the drums. I'm a drummer. I'm a musician, and I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. I know it took us 137 episodes before I finally agreed to this, and here I am doing your 138th episode.
Well, do you know why I've had 138 episodes, man?
I have an idea, but still, let me know.
Well, what's your idea?
Because they cannot cancel you.
Wait, no, shut up. That's my line. No one can cancel me. That's why they've had 138 episodes. No one can cancel me, baby. So just in case you're meeting me for the first time, before we get into Kulas' story, my name is Marc Cordon. Get ready with the drums here. Founder of the Make Money Coaching Program. Co-founder of the Joy Revolution. But more importantly, I get to ask on a regular basis 2 questions. The first question is this: how happy are you today? And the second one is, how much are you living your life in meaning and purpose? So Kulas, I have the privilege of asking you that question today. How happy are you, and how much are you living in your meaning and purpose today, brother?
I'm going to do this first. Well, I'm so happy. I'm so joyful, right? Now that I'm doing this with you today, I'm doing what I need to do in this world. I'm so happy that I was able to, discover how to unlock myself first, which I will be sharing to you later. Mm-hmm. And just because I have unlocked myself doesn't mean I don't have any hiccups in my life, right?
Yeah.
I still get sad. I still get, stupid. I still do stupid things. But the point is, when you look at it in the long run, right? Overall, if you take an average, I'm happy, I'm joyful, right?
Good. And how about the meaning and purpose, baby? What's going on with that?
The meaning and the purpose. The meaning is that, and my purpose, right? My purpose is to actually serve my family, to actually help other people through love and service. And as long as I'm doing that, I'm joyful. I'm happy.
I love this guy. So for those of you watching, I want you to make a heart up there with your Toronto Filipino fingers right now. I want you to make a heart, right? I want you to make a heart. So for those of you watching live or on the replay, I want you to give Kulas some hearts if you're living happily. If you're living in full meaning, give us some hearts while he plays some music. Give us those hearts, baby. Now, here's the thing. You brought it up, Kulas. It's not shits and giggles 24/7. Like, Tal Ben-Shahar says it. If you're happy 24/7, you're one of two things. You're either dead or you're a psychopath, which means this, that life is about the ups and the downs and the all-arounds of life. So if you're watching us right now and you're like, oh my God, shut off those drums. I was happy yesterday, but like, I don't know what, but something is off today. Or if you've been in a job for like 30 years or a relationship or living in a part of the world and you're like, this used to bring me meaning. And for some reason, it's off. Right, Terry? Right, Barbara? Right, William? I see you all.
Hey, guys.
Like, if you're off at all, that's a part of the journey. Your heart beats just like Kulas and mine. Just give us a thumbs up. Let this wash over you. Let us entertain you today, and maybe some things might stick. Yeah, I'm seeing them hearts. I'm seeing Melanie Klein's in the house today. I'm seeing them hearts. I'm seeing those thumbs up going on. And then maybe one day you'll be telling your story just like Kulas is about to do. Finally, we got one final thing up there, and for those of you watching, you know what it is. It's called hope. If you're feeling hope, regardless of whether you're a 1 or a 10, whether you're unhappy or uber happy, whether you have no meaning or are full of meaning, if you're more hopeful today than you were yesterday, that's a good sign. That means that success is on its way. And so if you are more hopeful today than any other day in your life, there's a button down there, Karen Perez Angeles, that I want you to hit. I want you to hit the wow face, and Kulas, give me that wow face. I haven't seen a good one in a while, son, so knock this one out. Oh. We almost made out, Kulas and I. We got Melanie writing in, yes, Kulas Angeles, love. She's got nothing but love for you. Love
you too, Mel.
Love the fact that you guys are participating today. Keep it coming. I'm seeing you guys on the watch party. I'm seeing you guys comment. So the more you comment, the more you engage, the more I'm putting you all up there. Given that, before we go into Unlock You, I want to know about Kulas. Kulas, what's your story, brother?
Okay, I'm gonna have to read my notes. I'm still feeling that, nerve here, but I'll get through this, right? So let me read my notes. I have it prepared for you. Okay,
got some notes, baby.
Okay, so as a young boy, I always wanted to be a rock star, right? Let me do this. Okay, I started playing the lyre at the age of 6, guitar at the age of 8, clarinet at the age of 13, and drums at the age of 14. Up to now, right? And I always thought that being a rock star is what I'm destined to do in this world until reality hit me, right? Being a musician won't give me all the material things I wanted. We were not that well off when I was growing up, so I have a lot of things on my list that I wanted to buy once I have the money, right? So I became an IT engineer. So I let go of my passion, of my dreams of being a rock star, and became an IT engineer. So why did I become one, right? So I really don't know. Probably because I was fascinated about that multiplayer game, Counter-Strike. Do you know that, Mark?
Yeah, I know Counter-Strike, baby.
Counter-terrorists and terrorists fighting each other, and yeah.
Probably the reason I didn't get through grad school was because of that game.
Yeah, but for me, it was the reason why I got into computer, right? And I even went to a computer course in the university. I was lucky I got into computers because it turned out it was really a cool field and something that I will be really interested. This is still my day job up to now, right? So aside from coaching, this is my day job. So part of the reason why I'm in this field is that I'm able to solve the problem that make my life and other people's lives easier, right? So which is what really fires me up and keeps me awake at night. I want to help other people, and doing computer things, right? Somehow let me do those things, right? Then I migrated to Canada, right? About 3 years ago, me and my family went to Canada, and probably this is one of the best decisions I made for my growing family, right? When you start, building a family, it's not about you anymore, right? It starts to be about your wife, your kids, and the reason why I went here in Canada is because of the family, right? Now, the question is, how did I get into coaching, right? You're a computer guy. Why are you doing coaching right now? You don't have any psychology, blah, 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 right? So why are you doing this? So I was a newcomer in Canada in 2016, and with a limited network, a few
Mm.
places to go to, and with an abundance of spare time, I remember my friend's remark. She said that, hey, you could be a life coach. I have no idea what a life coach is, right? Because back in the Philippines, life coaching is not a thing, right? We know basketball coaches, of course, but we don't know what life coaches are. So without any idea what a life coach is, I started researching and found IPEC. Actually, that's where we met, right? In
Yeah.
that group, one of the top schools in coaching, and I enrolled, right? So I discovered that I can leverage coaching for my passion for helping people and making their lives easier. So through coaching, I'm hoping I can touch more lives and help people who are passive life strivers live the life that they really want by unlocking their best selves. So before I found coaching, I thought whatever I was doing was what I was supposed to do. Just like when I thought I was supposed to be a rock star, drummer, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And right now, I thought I'm supposed to be an employee, just an employee, a husband, and a dad, a brother, and that I'm living the life that I really wanted. It turned out that I was meant to do something more, and it is to help people through coaching.
Amazing. Amazing. So guess what? Your turn. You have been. It turns out that you've been destined to do even more than that, which is this. I want you to crumple up your notes in front of you right now, bro.
All right.
I want you to crumple up your notes in front of you. Now we're gonna go and deviate from the script, right? So like, let's go and talk about this. Like, you didn't know what coaching was, and someone had basically told you like coaching is a great place for you to start, right? What was it about coaching that really lit you up to get you to go from a place where I would contend to say that you've become a rock star again because of
Yeah.
coaching, you know? So what is it about coaching that you love so much about?
It's a good question, right? Because when I was starting out, everything was foreign to me, right? I thought I was living the life that I really want. I thought I was doing what I was supposed to do in this world. But it turned out that I have no structure. I have, no knowledge on how to help people. So with me going into coaching school, actually, not coaching yet, with me going to a coaching school, I got that structure. I got that, what do you call this? I got that confidence, right? Because we people coming from Asia, right? We thought schooling is always the way to go. We have to go to school so that we can be confident making things or creating things, and that's how we become successful. So I did the same thing. I went to school, I got my certification, I got another certification, and now I'm coaching, right? But what I found is that coaching can be as simple as, being there for someone, right? Being there in times of need, in times of, and even in times of them winning, right? So coaching is, as I think about it, right? What I really wanted to do service, and coaching is one of the services that I can do to humanity.
Amazing, amazing. I want to throw this question out here. Kulas is pretty damn good when he's got a piece of paper in front of him. But who likes Kulas even better when he's just riffing, when he's just playing jazz? If I could heart it myself, I give you a heart for talking off the cuff like that, bro. You brought up a whole bunch of points before I even talk about unleashing you, man. Like, and even before I go into some of the things with your backstory, like you talked about growing up in Asia, the Philippines, even before I go into that, what were some of the things as an immigrant becoming an immigrant becoming a coach that you've even either have been challenges or advantages for you? Because I'm
Okay, so
sitting here, I'm
let's
like,
yes,
there's not very many Filipino American, Filipino Canadian coaches out there, and I've
yeah.
struggled with my own issues. Like, when it comes to that, like, have you struggled with any or had any challenges when it comes to sort of Filipino Canadian values and bringing that into your coaching practice?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of challenges primarily for myself, right?
Yeah,
It's inner the inner critic that always say that you're not good enough, right? So it started. I always tell this to you, right? That my diction is not that good. I don't speak like this Canadians and this Americans, and I'm trying to get them as clients, right? That is the first issue that I have to get past over, right? So that I can be my full self so that I can serve the people that I wanted to serve, right? So that's the first issue. The second issue is that I was trying to target millennials, right? But what I found out is that um, I hate to say this, but we millennials, I'm part of that group, right? Are not ready to buy, right? We are not ready to buy yet, right? So Matt has been a guest in the show as well. Was talking, they might
Hollywood.
be ready in. Yeah, Hollywood. Yeah,
I'm like, who the fuck is
he's also
Matt?
serving millennials, right?
Okay.
Hollywood. So we were talking that millennials are not yet ready to buy, but in a few years, like 2 to 3 years, they will be. So that's why I'm waiting, right? So for the time being, um, I'm serving not just millennials, but all the people that I can help.
Yeah, and so let me get back to that first point because it's one thing for the market not to be ready to buy, right, or to be maturing and be educating. It's another thing to it's another thing for you to have your gremlins around English not being your first language and thinking that you're going to be a different kind of coach because of that. What were some of the things that you did when it came to unlocking you and your best potential and getting through that?
Yeah, so I just had to get over that thing in my head that is saying, "Hey, your diction sucks," right? So it's more on feeling and acting like you're good enough, right? And
Yeah.
as you fake, I hate to use the term fake, right? But as you fake it, you make it, right? It's true for me. I'm not sure for somebody else, but it's true for me. I faked it until I'm here talking in front of you, and one of the reason why it took me 137 episodes before uh finally show up in your show is because of that,
Now
right?
don't
I might not be able
no don't bullcrap
to.
with me right now. Are you faking it in front of me?
No, I'm not. No,
Okay.
I'm not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and so is that part of the reason you might have had that sheet in front of you at the beginning?
Oh yeah, that's one big reason. Aside from me, trying to prepare, right?
Yeah.
It's part of my preparation. I'm not because I was as a musician, right? I was raised to read music sheets,
Yeah.
right? So notes for me is like that, right? And now you introduce me to the concept of jazz improvisation, right? Now I'm
Yep.
doing it.
Yep.
So here I am, right?
Yeah, you know your shit, man. You know your shit,
Yeah.
Kulas. You'd be doing yourself a disservice if you were reading from a sheet. We want to see Kulas, baby. Right, Pam? Right, Andy? Right, Melanie? Melanie's writing all over the place right there. She's writing it. Love Kulas off the cuff. Yes, and she was like, yes, great question about sort of the benefits and challenges of sort of being from multi worlds, right?
Yeah.
Now let me ask you this: you talked about some of the things when it came to you being Filipino Canadian that have led to your challenges when it comes to your gremlins. What advantages do you see in terms of being a Filipino Canadian coach?
Well, I might be the representative of the Philippines in terms of the in terms of coaching here in Canada because like what I have been saying, right? There are very few life coaches in the Philippines, much more
Yeah.
few Filipinos outside the Philippines who are coaching, right? So I'm glad to be the torch bearer
Yep.
if that's a term, right? Of Filipinos somehow being a part of the coaching community, coaching world, right? And I really want to be that,
Why do you
at
think
least
that? Why do you
in
think that
Canada.
they're just around the world in general that, and maybe this is, I can think of a couple places like, the UK, the United States, Canada, like, very westernized places have a lot of coaches. But then if you look outside of that, like the Philippines, there's not a lot of coaches. Why do you think that's the case? That coaches aren't ubiquitous? Like teachers are
Yeah,
ubiquitous; they're everywhere. But why not
that's right.
coaches?
I think it all boils down to people getting the service right. At the end of the day, coaching is a service. It's a luxurious service, and Filipinos are not used to that, right? Right? Filipinos are not used to paying for services, or not Filipinos. Probably most of us are not used to paying for services that are luxurious
Yeah.
unless you got the money, right? So the Philippines being a poor country, right? We'd rather spend money for food, for other things than to improve oneself. And I think that's the main reason why coaching works in the Western countries, but not some on the other part of the world.
That's a brilliant point, Kulas. Like in many places, like you're looking at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? And so when you're trying to
Yeah,
fill up those lower needs, you can't really focus on things like self-actualization or self-transcendence unless you have like a nice sturdy foundation and expendable income, right? Which is
sure.
probably why you get self-transcendence through like things that are usually free, like community organizations, churches, and stuff like
Right.
that, right? Very very, like, that's really really interesting. I know both you and I have found ways to hack that. And so, like, what have you found in working with people from non westernized cultures, but educating them and getting them to sign up for your services? What changes have you made, if any? Like, do you charge the same rates? Do you do more education? Like, what does that look like for you?
Okay, so right now I'm trying to help people who are in the Philippines and people who are outside the Philippines, right? But I haven't had any other clients outside from Filipinos, which is a good thing for me because I wanted to serve the Filipinos, right? So if
I
people
mean, he
are
only
outside
comes
the
in
country,
on Filipino led shows too. So like,
yeah, this is
give me
my
that,
first time actually.
give me that. Like, there it goes.
Wait, wait for it.
So, like, what have you? I might have to hit the stop button. I'm like gonna crack up, dude. Like, so what have you done, like, to help spread the word on that? Because to me, one of the greatest things that you can do is help someone who is, their energy is focused on, maybe getting food for their family and providing for their family, but also at the same time, like, there's a way to do that with grace, ease, and joy through coaching. And like, it would be great to introduce that to someone who feels like there's only one way to do it. And your life has to be a burden, and life has to be hard, and you have to carry your cross. A lot of Filipinos say that,
Mhm.
right? You got to carry your cross, and in many ways, coaching can help see a different perspective, but they can't afford it if it's an American
Yeah.
price or a Canadian price. How do you get through that?
Okay, so you have to help them. You have to show them that money should not be an issue if you want to improve yourself, right? So what I did was either I have two tiers of payments, right?
Okay.
One for Filipinos living in the Philippines and one for, Filipinos who are outside the Philippines or say living in Singapore, Canada, or US, right?
Yeah.
So I have two tiers. And another is, I try to spread it in a way that it's easier for them to pay, right? I don't change my price, but what I do is I help them, manage, and once they see you helping them with the money issue, they come to you and they listen to you. They they
Gotcha.
they they see your heart for service.
Yeah. I do in a different way. I straight up price discriminate. Price discriminate. I didn't stutter. And so, like, I'll work with college students and, specifically Filipino, Asian American college students. And it's just a write off. Like, I do it pro bono. I don't expect
Mhm.
them to pay what someone who's been in the workforce for 25 years would pay, right? So we all have different ways of service, right? And to me, it's very important to serve the community that I came from, and that's why I do what I do. Right, Donna Ray? It's good to see you 2 days in a row. Now let's go into this. I think you and I can agree, and if we can't, let's debate. But I think you and I can agree that regardless of what the part of the world that you're in, technically speaking, everyone has this idea of a best self. So, what do you mean
Mhm.
by unlocking your best self? Because it's like you're very intentional about the words here. What do you mean by
Yeah.
unlocking your best self?
Okay. So what I mean, but before I tell you how, right? Let's start. Why are we unlocking our best selves, right?
Perfect.
So why do we need to unlock ourselves? You can you can go ahead with your life without unlocking it. But why do you need to unlock it? Right? It's because when you unlock yourself, you'll see things differently. Right? So think about the story about the fish being taken out of the water.
Hmm.
Right? So wherein the fish only lives around, let's say, aquarium or water, and once he was taken out, he realized there's other things than the water that is surrounding him. Right? Now, when you get out of that water, that's actually you unlocking yourself, right? Knowing that if that water is not serving you anymore, you can either what do you call that? Mutate
Yeah,
mutate into
absolutely.
a land animal or to a space animal or to an air animal, right? So basically unlocking you is just knowing where you are right now, right? And knowing that you can go somewhere other than where you are right now, which is your water, which is your norm, right? So that's basically how you unlock you. And for you to be able to unlock yourself, it needs ton of clarity, right? That's why in my program that I created is also called UnlockYou. 75% of that program is just for clarity.
Why is that so important? Why is clarity so important?
Because you cannot be doing things blindly, right? I mean, you can do things blindly, but where will you go, right?
Yeah.
So by having that clarity, it's like getting a snapshot or a baseline of where you are right now. And once you know where you are right now, you'll know where you want to go, right? And there are a lot of tools and assessments that you can use to do clarity. But the point of clarity is that knowing where you are right now. Because at the end of the day, if you don't know where you are, how will you know where to go?
Yeah, Kel's dropping it right now. Kel's saying clarity is fire, 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 fire times five or something, right? Is what Kel's talking
Yeah.
about. So let me go back to the metaphor of the fish, right? So
Yeah.
does the fish technically need clarity when you take it out of the water that it's going to evolve into something else, like the space creature you were talking about? Does it need to
Mhm.
have that clarity when it gets taken out of the water?
You won't be taken out of the water if you don't have clarity, right?
Ah,
So at the end of the day,
booyakasha! Hit that
right? You'll
snap!
stay there
Hit the
forever if you
snap!
don't have clarity.
Hit that snap, son! You just shut me down! I love it! Donna Ray's getting the big love right now, yeah. Everybody loves seeing Mark getting shut down. Hit that heart! He just shut me down and played a song over it. Yes, my friend! So, what are some things that we can do when it comes to, I'm not asking you to give your whole program away, but like
Yeah.
when it does come to clarity, what are some of the biggest mistakes that people make about clarity? And it's really not clarity. It's like false clarity, or it's not clear enough, but they'll still think that that's clarity. What are the mistakes around that?
Okay, so when it comes to clarity, right, I see two things, right? One is you are doing it for yourself, or you are doing it because you want others to see you seeing that clarity, right? So it's more of inner and extrinsic, right? So I want clarity in my life because my parents will be really happy when I see clarity, right? So it boils down into two things: you seeking clarity for yourself, or you seeking clarity just because the society is asking you to have clarity.
To get to state it, and you get society off your back, basically, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not it's not internally motivated, is what you're saying. Is that clarity?
that's right.
You can have clarity, but um it's not internally motivated. It's motivated by things other people are expecting from of you. Now, how do you know if clarity is completely internally or externally motivated?
Okay, so there are a few wordplay that we can use, but whenever you say "I need clarity," that's one thing that you saying that I need clarity because I'm a victim of this, right? But if you want clarity, that's you internally saying to yourself that I really want this because this will serve me, rather than I need clarity because this will serve other people, right? So when you start saying want more, I want more, that's you know, doing clarity for intrinsically or for yourself.
Gotcha. I'm gonna take that another level, because I think also instead of using the word need, removing the word should, and using the
Yeah.
word I choose, right?
Yeah.
Because then
I
when
love
you
it.
choose to do something, that is your internal mechanism saying, this is what I want inside out, right? I choose to be on this show with Kulas, right? Rather than like, I need to be on the show with Kulas. I choose to
Yeah.
it. Um, again, Tal Ben Shahar, positive psychologist, once used in talking about language, said, our words create worlds. It creates worlds, right? And I at first I was like, that's the most cheesy thing ever. But then also at the same time, it's true. If you're always in a place where it's I need, there's never enough. Um, I should, I can't. Like when you're using words like that, then your reality becomes that, right? It
Yeah.
becomes the world. And I love the fact that in searching just for clarity, you might unknowingly reinforce a world that you don't want to stay in.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
This is for you.
that's right, baby. Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit more. Like from clarity, you start with clarity, right? And that's probably the point where you begin to realize that your best self is internal, right? You have clarity
Mhm.
on what your best self looks like. You have clarity on it's motivating to you. It lights you up. You're excited about this. Where do you go after clarity?
Okay, so once you know what clarity is for you, right? So let me talk about how to unlock you in the framework that we actually did for this one, right? So the first thing is you get clarity, right? Once you get clarity, you'll get confidence, right? Because once you are clear on what you want to do and where you want to go, you'll get confidence. And once you have that confidence, you take actions. Once you take actions, you challenge status quo, right? And that's you finally transitioning from you being leashed to you being unleashed or you being unlocked, right? Once you take action and once you challenge status quo.
Gotcha, gotcha. So it makes sense. Okay, so we start with clarity. That
Yeah.
clarity turns into sort of a sense of a locus of control, a feeling
Yeah.
that you belong here. You have the skills necessary to execute something, which moves into action. Right? Why is it that actions challenges the status quo?
Because there will never be a challenge if you just stay put, right? And the only way to challenge status quo is if you take actions, right? You not moving will not do anything. But
Now,
when you start doing actions, you challenge it.
now,
You challenge the status
are
quo.
you talking about your status quo internally, like your norms, or are you talking about the society's norms?
Oh no, it will always be you, right? Because it's unlock you, right? Now, once you unlock you, you can better serve society, and probably you can unlock society now, not you, right?
Okay, and so that makes a lot of sense because as you start taking actions, even though you may have this confidence, the status quo is your old self. It's your old self
Mhm.
saying, "Hey, dude, play small. You're gonna embarrass yourself if you're gonna go out there. Like you've never done something like this
Mhm.
before. Hey, English is not your first language. They're gonna laugh at you. You don't have a PhD in psychology. Like, no one's gonna take you like that's the status quo that you're talking about, right?
That's right. Yeah,
Okay,
everything that's holding you back, right? And you
gotcha,
not taking action when you are supposed to.
gotcha. So I think that you're implying a certain thing when it comes to values in this.
Oh
What
yeah.
where do
Mhm.
values all come into play when you're talking about this sort of CCAS model, as we like to call it around here, these parts, the clarity,
Yeah.
confidence, actions, and status quo challenging model, or the
Where does values come
CCAC?
in?
Yeah, where do values
Yeah,
come in all
CAC.
this?
Seacock, right? Seacock.
It's men's
Okay.
night. It's men's night. He's getting real comfortable now.
Yeah. By the way, guys, Mark connote that Seacock.
Oh,
So
and now
yeah.
you throw me under the bus, you son of a bitch.
No. Okay. So where does value comes in, right? So it's part of the whole clarity thing, right? So values are intrinsically things that you thought you are valuing in your life, right? So it comes from your beliefs, right? So beliefs is a set of right or wrong according to your filters. Now, and that's the basis of your values. So, for example, you value accomplishment. It might be stemming out from your belief that accomplishment is needed, right? So you value it.
Gotcha, gotcha. So, what do values actually like? Now, let's overlay those values with the Seacock model, and like when you overlay those with the that model throughout it, your values are changing or they're
Mhm.
becoming more authentic. Like, help
Okay.
me understand it.
Okay, so there are two types of values, right? Conscious-based and fear-based values, right? The
Mm.
moment you choose conscious-based values, that's you moving into confidence, moving into taking actions, right? But yeah, so the values thing is that, removing all the fear-based values and, choosing the conscious-based values. That's what you need for you to be able to move on to the next level and to take actions.
I'm glad that you made a distinguishment between those two things because um when you let fear-based values sort of take the driver's seat, man, I mean, you're looking at inaction, you're looking at
Oh,
inactivity, you're looking at victim-mindedness, right? Versus conscious-based values. I mean, you're looking at progress, evolution. Like those are two distinct ways of understanding values. And I think before it was just like, oh, they're your belief system. So in many ways, it's I'm guessing that the model that you're talking about in Unleashing You is a model that's moving away from the fear based and one that embraces the conscious based values.
Oh yeah, that's one part of the clarity, right?
Okay.
So we usually start with just knowing your values. And what I notice with my clients, right, I have a free values assessment that you can just answer online. If you want the link, I can post it in the replay.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
but
Please,
what,
please, please.
yeah. So what I noticed there, the results are always people have like 10 more than 10. 90% of the time, people will have more than 10 top values and more than 10 disconnected values, right? When I say top values, these are values that you are really valuing and you are working towards it, meaning your action rating and your value rating is high. Disconnected values are values that you are doing too many actions but you are not valuing it, or you are valuing it but you are not taking actions, right? So what's weird is that they have like 10 or 20 plus values out of 70, right? And that's overwhelming, right? So what we try to do, and when you ask them why, it's mostly fear-based values that they have, right? So by weeding out those fear-based values from your top values and your disconnected values, you are becoming true to yourself, right? And that's what we try to work on the program.
So, would you go and say that based on the way that you talked about values and actions, that the more your top values are in congruence with your actions, the closer you are to completely being unlocked?
Oh yeah, because you are somehow moving into a state, right, that you want to be, right? Now, if you value this and you are not taking action, there's a big question why. But
Yeah.
if you are valuing this and you're taking actions, you're going to flourishing, right?
Yeah.
And that's joy, that's happiness right there. If you are, taking actions towards what you really value in life.
That makes so much sense. Now you're going into stuff like passion, right? You're talking about values plus action equal passion, and I'm kind of thinking. Have you heard of ikigais before? The concept of ikigai. Um, okay, okay.
Yeah,
So yeah, so
I'm using that in the program as well. Yeah.
nice, nice. So
So that's part of my clarity thing.
where do ikigais and explain whatever to everyone what ikigais are, but where do ikigais come into sort of unlocking that strongest potential of who you are?
Okay. Yeah, so ikigai, right? This is a concept that you introduced to me, and the moment you introduced it, I loved it. Right? It was the best concept, the most simple concept that I've ever encountered in terms of if in terms of knowing your reason for being. So ikigai is a Japanese term that roughly translates to, reason for being, right? And it's said that ikigai is an intersection of your mission, your passion, your vocation, and your profession, right? So the reason why you are existing in this world is because of that intersection of the four, right? So how does it come into to the clarity part and for you to take actions, right? Now, if you really know what your purpose is in this world by knowing your ikigai, then taking actions towards that is a little bit easier now, right? But if you don't know what your purpose is, what your reason for this world is, the reason for your existence in this world, then how can you take actions?
Mm.
That's why I still use ikigai for clarity.
Gotcha. So still, ikigai is still a big piece when it comes to clarity, right?
Oh yeah.
When you see people like, give us the four things of ikigai again. It's because I know it's
Okay,
like a
it's
Venn diagram.
mission. Yeah, it's mission, vocation, profession, and passion.
Okay, so if any one of those things are off, you're really looking at someone who could do more work when it comes to becoming their unlocking their best self, right? Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
and what's interesting is that when it comes to ikigais, it's a holistic way of living your life, right? I remember when I would work, when I used to work the 9 to 5, right? Put on my tie, even though I thought it was a bunch of bullshit to wear ties to work. Black hair. I always wanted red hair, right? If I joked around too much, like I'm all about levity, but if I joked around too much, people might get the concept that I don't take work seriously, which was not true at all.
yeah,
And so, in many ways, I'd come to work and that sort of light, jovial Mark didn't show up like he showed up in the other three areas of his life, you know?
yeah,
And so, like, I can see a lot of people compartmentalizing and saying, well, the value of levity, right? Humor shows up in my virtues in action, character strength is one of the top. Well, because the university that I worked at doesn't necessarily embrace levity as its top values, then I'm going to suppress that levity, and
yeah,
suddenly I don't
yeah.
feel like I'm my best self at work, right?
hmm
So do you get quite a few people that come in and are like, "Well, this is my value. My work just happens to not value that value." Do you get people that say that?
Oh, I have clients wherein um, their first question I remember is that what will I value on my person in my personal life and what will I value in my business life or
Oh,
professional
so they
life, right?
already have it as compartmentalized.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So I was saying, why do you have to compartmentalize? Why do you
yeah.
have to choose why do you have to do if then else, right? So I'm going into programming a little, right? So why do you have to go if then else? If work, do this. Then if you are at home or with your loved ones, do this, right? So the first question is why do you compartmentalize? Why do you need to have two personas or three personas if you have like church work or if
Yeah.
you have volunteer work? Why do you have to be different people, right?
Why do we do that? Like, now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, why do we do that in the first place?
Because that's how we please society, right? We have to be this, we have to be that, so that we can conform to the norm.
I have no idea what you did, but you like tripped a wire or something, dude. Okay, so I think what we're still at with Ikigai is still this idea of clarity, building confidence, right? What actually needs to happen to go to the point of unlocking yourself? Because I think, like, the one thing that's been awesome about everyone this week is everyone has talked about the mindset stuff. But now
Yeah.
you're unlocking yourself actually has actions now. Like, how do you get to that action
Mhm.
stage now once you
Okay.
have the
Yeah. So
clarity?
before we get into action, right? There's one more thing that you should be knowing, right? And that's taking a live snapshot, right?
Okay.
So when I say live snapshot is that you're taking a baseline or a reference on where you are right now. This is where those wheel of life comes in, right? The different life areas sort of things and where you rate your life. So if your financials suck, you do 2 or 5, right? So that's a good way of looking at where you are. Right? All of the clarity things is just looking at where you are right now, right? Then after that, if you know where you are, that's the taking action part. what do you want to do with that, right? That's the part where you do goal settings, right? So taking actions is more, at least for the program that I have, is more on, getting clear on what goals to put in that you will take actions on, right?
Gotcha.
But without that clarity, as I was saying, for 75% of the program, it's clarity. Without that clarity, there's no point creating goals. There's no point taking actions.
Yeah, it's just empty goals. It's empty goals that I don't see
Yeah,
leading to any kind of flourishing. It's just work. It's empty work
yeah,
is what I see in
yeah.
those goals without the clarity and without the motivation. Okay, so we've done the life snapshot. We've done the ikigai. We've talked about values. We've gone through 75% of your program. I want to take action. Walter Aguilar just tuned in and said, clarity is power. But I want to take action. Take me to Actionville.
And that's how we use the goals. Did you just hit your face on something?
I wanted to make sure that I didn't lose. I wanted to make sure I didn't lose a tooth. So now we're talking about goal setting, baby. Talk to me about goal
Yeah,
setting.
yeah. Okay, so it's the usual, smart goals and those sort of things. If you want to know about that, just Google it, right? But the goal is the important thing to know about goals is I'll be talking about need and want goals again, right? So there are need goals and there are want goals, right? The need goals again pertains to society, right? You are doing it for the sake of society, of for other people, and the want goals you are doing it for yourself, right? I'm not saying you don't need those need goals, right? What I'm saying is have lesser need goals and have more want goals. And those want goals you can get
Mm.
from the exercises that you did for clarity.
Gotcha. So again, there's still, even the type of goals you're making, you need to make sure that you make a distinguishment about those goals. Now,
Yeah.
are we talking about, once we go into goal setting, we go into the sort of SMART goal type of goals, or are we talking about big, hairy, audacious goals? Like, what are we looking at here when it comes to the goal setting part of things?
So what we usually do is when we do goal setting, it has to be because at the end of our ikigai session, we are generating an ikigai statement, right? It's like your mission and vision statement for your life, right? And once you have that, because that's an intersection of almost everything in your life, once you have that statement, you'll know what goals to put in, right? So, for
I love
example,
it.
my,
Love
my
it.
ikigai statement was I am a test automation engineer who is coaching people who are in need, serving the church and everything, right? So once I know that statement, I know now what goals to put in, right? So it's incongruent with what I really wanted to do and what I'm supposed to do in this world. So that's
Gotcha.
where the goals are coming from.
Now I want you to grade and tell me what I need to do with my ikigai statement, because I was working with another guest earlier this week on
Mm.
just a legacy value statement, which sounds very similar to ikigai, right? So my statement is I want to empower as many people as possible, or I empower as many people as possible while having as much fun as possible. Is that an ikigai statement?
Oh yeah, I think that's a good ikigai statement. Although the ikigai part is has something to do with your welfare as well, and welfare can be about money, right? That's why they ikigai has that profession part there, right? Profession gives you money because without money you might suffer, right? So while you are having fun, how can you continue your life, right?
And
You are having fun,
I
but
think that's
what's
awesome.
how do you contain that fun? How do you sustain that fun,
So
right?
would I throw this in there? Again, since it's an ikigai statement, I'm gonna try to keep it general, but um, uh, I I I empower as many people as possible and have as much fun as possible, while while generating resources that allow me to live with grace, ease, and joy.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, and I do
Right.
that through coaching. Can you give me the can you give me the white stripes? Down, 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 down. I'm going to Wichita. um, but thank you. I mean, thank you for giving me that. For those of you who are watching right now, what is your Ikigai statement? What is your statement that goes and says your reason for being? What is it? Because that is the statement that will bleed through to your profession, to your personal life, to your community life. It bleeds across. I get it. I get it, Kulas. Thank you for that clarification, my friend. So then that's when I can go and set goals and say, now that I have my Ikigai statement in place, my goals will reflect the Ikigai in what I do in the Joy Revolution, for example. Right?
Oh yeah.
I want to empower as many people as possible, have as much fun as possible, and also make sure that I'm charging so I can live a comfortable life
Yeah.
that allows me to do all of this with grace, ease, and joy. Right? Is that what
Yeah.
you're talking about?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And the good thing
Wonderful.
about Ikigai as well is that we talk about in the Joy Revolution, right? That about the Dr. Corey Key's
Uh-huh.
flourishing model, right?
Yeah.
Included in that Ikigai, what I found out is there's a component for settling and striving and flourishing, right? So there are sub intersections there wherein you might be settling, you might be striving, and you might be flourishing. Flourishing is where you are incongruent with your Ikigai statement. But along that, you might be settling in this, striving in this. But at the end of the day, it's your Ikigai statement that what guides you in life.
I love it. If you guys love what's going on with this Ikigai statement, I don't think we've ever talked Ikigais on this show before. Hit that heart button, show some love. I want you to share this out to somebody who could use an Ikigai statement work using thin. Watch Kulas bouncing around here. Now, Kulas, you started off with notes, baby. Do you see why we don't use notes on this show? Like you just go where
I
you
do not
want.
need
You
notes.
just go where you want to go, baby. I want to have you back, and before we close off the show and give you the golden mic last word, we have a last word from the audience member who is from Walter today. Taking inventory is absolutely key. Taking your inventory is absolutely key. We got Canada so far represented today. It's amazing. So Kulas, I just wanted to recognize, like, literally at the beginning of the show when I called you my brother, like, I do consider you like my brother, man. It's been amazing to watch your crazy growth over the past couple months, man. Like it was true. Like when I tried to get him on the golden mic a couple months ago, he like made every fucking excuse in the book to not come on the show. And you just crushed it, man. I just want to recognize how awesome you've been doing and just to keep
Thank
doing
you.
it. And you just make me want to be a better person with my icky guys and all that kind of stuff. We'll have you back on the show, hopefully before show 200. So hurry up and book again. So here we
Oh
go.
yeah.
This is why the show is called. Actually, before I even descend that, how do we go and get into the? How do we get into that program, the Unlock You program stuff? Are you gonna post it?
Okay. Oh yeah, good thing you asked. Yeah, so
Okay.
I've finished with my legacy group. So
Okay.
we have proven that it's working.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting the May cohorts, right? So I have 5 slots open for the Unlock You program. In that program, we will be talking about those values, those life snapshot, Ikigai statement, which I think is the highlight of the program, and how you will take actions. Aside from the group coaching format, you'll have one-on-one life coaching with me. So it's not that expensive. I'm telling you, it's really affordable, so that because I really want this. I'm seeing this as my service to the world, right? That's why I don't want this to be that expensive, right? Now,
Now
I only
I
have
as your
five
coach,
slots.
I'm trying to get you to raise the price ASAP because it's
Yeah,
so good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So for now, grab the chance that it's still low before Mark, get into my
Head.
mind that raise it up, right? Get into
I'm
my
gonna have
head
to go
and
over to
raise it up.
Canada and break one of those sticks on your Ulo book, bro. You gotta raise that price. I mean, what you're giving,
Yeah.
what your service is a steal for what it is that you do with your clients. So how do we find you? How do we find you to get in touch about the program?
Okay, so you can reach me through either my Facebook page, which is tagged in this show.
Mhm.
You can also go to moveforwardandup.com. That's my website. I have a lot of blogs there. I have a lot of videos there. My program is also there. So if you want to look at it, go ahead and look. And while you are at it, sign up. Right. So 5 slots left. So I'm encouraging you to take those slots.
Wonderful. Now, I'm encouraging you to go into a visioning exercise with me, and encouraging everybody else to forward this part out. This is the funnest part of the show. It's why it's called the Golden Mic, right? Bong Cordon Bong, who just tuned in. I want you to imagine, Kulas, that there's a golden mic over there in Canada that's coming down from your ceiling. Now, this golden mic translates into every language, including Tagalog, including Bisayan, including Ilocano, including whatever the Negritos of the mountains say, right? It translates into every language, right? All across the world. The world is listening when I flip the switch, and they want to know what your message to us is. Kulas Angeles, your golden mic is live now.
Be who you want to be, do what you are supposed to do, and be a gift to the world. And you can start by unlocking you.
You know what? I want you to hold that. I want you to hold that golden. Do you feel the weight in that golden mic? Feels good, right?
Yeah,
We're gonna pass it tomorrow, and it looks like you're gonna do some magic mic karaoke with that. So before you do, I want you to smash that golden mic like it's hot. Smash it. Smash it! Now stomp it! Stomp it! Stomp the golden mic! Just stop it! Now stop it! Stop it! I gotta fix it before tomorrow. Everybody, Kulas, it's been oh my god, it's been fantastic having you on. You have tremendous energy, tremendous with what you're doing with your service to the world. I want to have you back on. Here's my final question on behalf of Kulas and I. Episode 138. Please share it out. And it's this: if you're feeling happy and you're living life to its fullest of purposes today, what is your responsibility to change history for the better? Kulas Angeles, Marc Cordon, episode 138. Share it out. We will see you tomorrow. Thank you, Kulas.
You're welcome.